Time now for a look through the press with Deepti Galore. Deepti, thanks for joining me on set. You're going to start us off in Sudan.
Yes, that's right. The proposed truce in Sudan, it's on the front of the Sudan Tribune today, on the front of its website. As you see here, the Rapid Support Forces, the paramilitary group agreeing to this, at least temporarily agreeing to a humanitarian truce brokered by a US-led mediator group called the Quad. The group has been warring with the Sudanese military for the past 2 years. It comes after the RSF seized the last major military stronghold of El Fasher in northern Darfur last week, just about a week ago. For the moment, the army has not agreed to a truce yet. It wants a paramilitary group to disarm and withdraw from civilian areas. So that's on the front of Sudan Tribune today. Of course, the other aspect of this conflict in Sudan is the humanitarian catastrophe. This conflict in Sudan has been called one of the worst humanitarian crises in history, at least in the world right now. 12 million people displaced, 21 million people facing hunger, hundreds of thousands of people killed. The Conversation today, in its article here, this is an Australian academic website, it reminds us that in the early 2000s, celebrities like George Clooney helped put the Darfur war on the map, and it led, there was a lot of global outrage around what was happening in Darfur that eventually led to the indictment by the International Criminal Court of Omar al-Bashir. Today, that same level of outrage is not present, and fears of a genocide in Sudan keep growing. Will the world prevent a genocide in Sudan? The Conversation asks today.
Right, and you've also been looking at the South African press, Deepti, talking about potential reasons as to how this war spiraled out of control so badly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's in the Mercury today. It's a South African paper. This article here is really, really interesting. It's called, it's titled Sudan Mirrors Politics of Grievability. Now, this is written by a university fellow called Ali Rida Khan, who blames, quote, the Emirates for facilitating the war in Sudan. Sudan is not a crisis, he says. It's a mirror that no one wants to look into. It shows us what the world becomes when power sheds its old costumes and violence finds new investors. The Emirates' fingerprints, he adds, are all over Sudan's agony through shipments, bank transfers and mercenary flows. Sudanese gold pulled through Dubai, RSF fighters trained and paid as proxy muscle, and Sudan's generals, perfect puppets of the, quote, Gulf patronage of the country.
And you've also been looking at Libération here in France. A topic which is always in the papers here is PFAS.
Yeah, and it's actually gotten worse, if that's even possible. As you see this number here on the front of Libération, 60,000 French people deprived of drinking water because of PFAS-contaminated tap water. PFAS, of course, those forever chemicals that you can find in pretty much everything from food to cosmetics to fashion. Well, the impact of PFAS chemicals are the highest in the east of France, Libération explains. And in its paper today, in its edition, it's actually put this map here of the areas that are worst hit, and in particular, the east of France is particularly highly hit by PFAS pollutants. The pollutants can cause cancer, can disrupt hormonal systems. It can also weaken immunity. Now, certain communes in the east of France are now stocking spring water reserves while waiting for the very long and costly process of decontaminating tap water. So PFAS has essentially now become a major public health issue here in France.
Right, and in India, one of Mumbai's biggest slums is being demolished. Is that right?
It could be demolished, indeed. This is from The Guardian today, Peter. It says here that Mumbai, one of the biggest slums in Mumbai, one of the most storied slums of Mumbai, it's called the Dharavi slum. Under a multi-million-dollar project, it and its longtime residents could be no more. The Adani Group is planning to bulldoze the slum, and activists say they fear it'll be turned into a playground for the rich, because indeed the slum has now become prime real estate in the city. The Dharavi slum is home to 1 million residents who live in a 2.2 square kilometer area. Generations of families have lived there and built businesses that sustain the community today. The Guardian quoting one man, for instance, who makes leather coats that are sold in high-end shops in Mumbai and abroad. Many residents fear that they'll be displaced with nowhere to go, and their attempts to speak out against this redevelopment plan have been met with intimidation, threats and harassment by, they say, the Adani Group itself.
Finally, Deep Tea, I'm sure our viewers will have heard of this solid gold toilet, this piece of art. And the mystery, yeah, I suppose. Not my idea of art, but look, I guess it might fit in some people's bathrooms nicely. We finally know who the artist is, because that was never known before, right?
That's right. No, not the artist. We knew who the artist was. We didn't know who the owner was.
Oh, the owner. Okay, yeah.
And this is not just any bug. We're talking about a 100-kilogram solid gold bug that even works if you call a plumber. Now, nearly a decade ago, the mystery of who bought it, was going on for a long time until now. It's been cracked finally. The owner of the toilet, designed in 2017 by Italian artist Maurizio Catalan, who also gave us the duct-taped banana artwork that sold for millions. Well, the owner of this toilet is Stephen Cohen. He's a billionaire owner of the New York Mets. And on November 18th, it'll go under auction at Sotheby's with a starting price of $10 million. You could say it's a commodity of high value.
Oh, no, you haven't brought that here.
I did go there.
I thought it might have been in Trump Towers. I think it actually
probably has its place there, doesn't it?
Probably does. All right, well, maybe Trump will snap it up at all.
Maybe.
Thank you, Deep Tea, for the roundup of today's press.